Hi, welcome to another episode of Look Ma No Hands. My name is Linda, and on my channel I talk about crochet, all things yarn. Talk about what I've been reading, what I've been watching on TV, sometimes at the movies, on different streaming services. Occasionally I'll put in a segment that I call Fancy Footwork, where I show you how I have mastered daily tasks using my feet since I was born without arms. So this week, what have I been working on? I don't have any finished projects to show you in terms of anything to wear. I've been secretly working on learning how to knit. So I started just doing a little bit of looking online on YouTube channels and things like that for kind of beginner knitting projects, and I found the channel called Good Knit Kisses, where they had a tutorial for the pattern known as Grandma's Favorite Dishcloth. So I started on that a few weeks ago, and my first two attempts were less than satisfactory, let's just say. But I don't give up easily, so I finished them and kind of assessed what it was about the project that I was not understanding or doing well, and figured out that my understanding of the stitches, or like the mechanics of like the decrease increase, was where I was missing the mark. So the mechanics of actually creating a knit stitch, I for the most part understood. The first iteration of it, well, and the second one too, I guess, I was doing my yarn over in the wrong direction. I don't know if that really makes a difference, but once I realized that that was something that I was doing wrong, in the third iteration I corrected that problem. I did find that doing the yarn over the correct way, or like wrapping my yarn the correct way, made things a lot easier. So obviously it does make a difference, maybe not necessarily in the fabric that you create, but definitely the mechanics of working the stitches. So yeah, I figured that out. I'm still working on, when I get to the very last few stitches, I think I've been kind of messing up the count a little bit. So I had a little bit of a problem when it came to the last stitches for the cast off. But for the most part, it went from looking incredibly not the shape that it's supposed to be square, to finally understanding how to do the decreases at the right rate, where to put the decreases, all that kind of stuff. Got that fairly well understood, and have something that for the most part resembles a square. So I finished that, and then not to be discouraged, decided to look for a few more like simple beginner friendly patterns using just the knit stitch and yarn overs. I have not yet even dove into how to do a purl stitch, so that'll be maybe next week or the week after. But using knit stitches and yarn overs, I found the Fiber Flux Knitting channel, and I'm working on the pattern that she calls the Falling Leaves bookmark. I really like Fiber Flux crochet channel, so I knew that I could trust her instructions and like all of her like videography, like just being able to see what she's doing clearly and understand. Definitely gave me the confidence to tackle this pattern, and so far so good. Since it's just a bookmark, it's small enough, but it's also working with smaller yarn, smaller needles, so it's taking longer than the dishcloth took. But I'm also kind of taking my time to make sure that I'm getting the stitches correct, not dropping any stitches, not like messing up in any way that I have to like pull it out and start all over, because I don't yet know how to use a lifeline to protect my stitches from having to completely dismantle the project if I find a mistake or if I make a mistake. Yeah, so if I make a mistake, what I end up doing is just dismantling the whole thing and starting from square one. So that's part of why it's taking me several weeks to finish just a simple dishcloth, because every time I come across a place where I'm like, oh no, that was not correct, instead of just being able to kind of take back a few stitches, I just have to take it all apart again. So once I figure out that whole lifeline thing, I think I'll be a much happier camper and maybe braver to venture into larger projects than just a dishcloth or a bookmark. But for now, I want to just practice and learn how to get the mechanics of knitting down. So I'm just taking on small little projects that I know I can complete in the span of a few days to a week, and have something to show for my efforts. So yeah, that's what I've been working on this week, and here and there the last couple of weeks. I'm, as you all know, definitely a perfectionist, so I didn't really feel comfortable filming the process of me learning it, although I probably should have. But I will definitely be making some videos in the future of me doing knitting as well as I've done with crochet, because I just think that it's worth making a video of. So yeah. And then the other thing that I've been working on this week, just here and there, are a couple more squares for my circle to square baby blanket. In the color, the circle part I'm doing with gray, and the outside part I'm doing with yellow. So yeah, it's a fun little project to work on because I can complete a square in a matter of an hour or two. So yeah, it's just been a fun little thing to work on. I don't know how many squares it's gonna take to make a whole blanket, but it's turning out really nice. So and then I guess we'll move on to what I've been reading, which this week I only finished one book. It was another audiobook that was about 10 hours worth of listening, so that's part of why I only finished one. Between having to concentrate really hard on the knitting, I can't listen to an audiobook while I'm knitting, which is kind of frustrating, but whatever. I finished the book called His and Hers by Alice Feeney. This is another mystery thriller, and I picked it up because I saw that they have it turned into, I don't know if it's a Netflix movie or a Netflix series, but when I saw that it was on Netflix, I was like, well, I want to read the book first, because I'm the kind of person that feels like the book is always better than the dramatic adaptation, the theatrical adaptation, or made-for-TV movie, or whatever that they decide to do with it. So I wanted to read the book first. And I really enjoyed this book. It got a little bit of a slow start, but it definitely picked up as things were going along. The premise of this book is that there's a reporter for the BBC that finds out there's been a murder in her hometown, and she gets assigned to go to the place, back to her hometown to report on this murder. And it turns out that her ex-husband is the detective that's been tasked with solving the murder. And at first you kind of start thinking, like, was it one of the two of them that did it? They both know the murder suspect, or they both know the murder victim, excuse me. And so you're kind of questioning, like, okay, which one of them did it? As things move on, they start adding in more characters that you could think, like, okay, well, maybe it was this person, maybe it was that person. A lot of people have motive for what they're doing, and then another murder victim comes to light, and so now we're thinking, okay, it's a serial killer, like, what's going on here, like, and then it turns out the victims are connected, and so it really, like, the plot thickens, as they say. The main female character, I believe her name is Anna, has a lot of like childhood trauma between like stuff that happened with her family, stuff that happened at school with some of her classmates. It's just a lot of like stuff to unpack that would make you think that she is the one responsible for the murders. There's a lot of trauma between her and her husband, like things that caused their relationship to fail. It's just a very messy story, so to speak, and all of the different parts of the story play into the intrigue of like the whodunit, because the characters are so intertwined, and at certain points it seems as though they don't even realize how intertwined they are. The characters themselves don't realize the connections that there are amongst them. And so, as I said, like, it kind of got a slow start. I wasn't really all that into it for the first maybe like 20% of the story. And then all of a sudden, the story really picked up when it came to all of the entanglements that everybody has throughout the story. And so then you're really invested in like, okay, so who is out there murdering all these people? You do eventually find out who the murderer is. This book, as being done as an audio, I think is kind of cool because one of the characters, the way they portray it is by using like a voice disguising feature. So you're not sure, like, is it female? Is it a male? Are they young? Are they old? Is it one of the people that we've already like been suspecting? Like, who is this voice disguised person? As it turns out, the voice disguised person is the murderer. It's not revealed until very late in the book, but we do find out who it is. And that's like, once I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I have to know who did it. Like, this is crazy. Like, it just, there's so many people in the story that you could see carrying out these crimes. But it was definitely a very satisfying ending when it comes to the big reveal of who did it and why. So, highly recommend the book. I will be checking out the Netflix version of it, I guess you could say. I'm not sure if it's a series or if it's just a film, like a 2-hour long film. But yeah, I want to see how they do like the dramatic interpretation of it. So that's all I've read this week. And then what I've been watching is just basically pretty much all the same. General Hospital. We really enjoyed this week the grand reopening of Charlie's and the open mic session that they had where Trina and Gio performed for the reopening. So that was fun and exciting. I'm hoping they do more with that storyline. It would be kind of cool to see Trina have like her moment in the spotlight, so to speak, and maybe team up with Gio. That would be kind of a cool artistic pairing of her voice skills and his instrumental skills. That would be a cool storyline for summer. We'll see how that goes. Then the car crash stuff has been quite intense. Working really hard to try to figure out like what is going on there. Who are they trying to eliminate from the show? So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. It's been rather interesting. And then of course all the stuff with Carly and her craziness. Who is she gonna go with and like why? She's playing a very dangerous game by betting those two men, and yeah, it'll be interesting how all that plays out. We watched Will Trent, which is getting to be pretty interesting. It'll be interesting to see like how all of that stuff plays out with that one character that has kidnapped his uncle. I'm hoping that the uncle is still safe and alive and will be returned to him. Yeah, we've been watching RJ Decker, and that's fun. I guess we're really getting into like the detective type shows. So, yeah. And then continuing to watch the Ultimate Baking Championship. We love our baking championship shows here. So, this one is really cool. They've got like very experienced bakers in the kitchen. So, watching all of the very intricate and skilled bakes that they have to come up with has been really interesting. I really, again, like I said, just enjoy watching these shows where it's kind of artistic type of things. Watching them kind of extend or expand their skills, test the skills that they're feeling confident in. Yeah, and so far, all of the people that have been cast off the show, I agree with the judges' decisions. Some of them I just don't like the person, and some of them I could definitely see that their skills were not quite up to the competition around them. So hopefully those people have a chance to go back into like the work world and kind of do some research and improve their skills, do like a self-assessment and see like where there were some things that they could improve on, and then maybe they'll have like an Ultimate Baking Championship reunion or like I don't know, but it would be kind of cool to see some of the people that have been sent home come back to get like a second chance to show off what they've learned and improved. And yeah, I don't know, but I guess I shouldn't jump the gun there when it comes to this series hasn't finished yet. So the bakers that are left, I think, are all very skilled. It's kind of interesting to see like the age range of the people that they have on the panel. There's a pretty decent range of ages on there. And I like that it's not all men or all women. Like, it's definitely been fun to watch. And again, like I said, watching all of the different kinds of skills that go into baking and pastry making, and like the chocolate creations that they do to like embellish their bakes and things like that have just been like incredible. As a crafter myself, like watching how they have to have so many different skills that they can pull out of their back pocket to enhance a simple cake. Like making a cake, if you follow, the basics, the basic chemistry of cake baking, it's pretty straightforward. But then when it comes to like the decorating and just like stylizing, that's what kind of elevates it during these competitions. So it's been very fun watching that show. And then this week on Prime Video, we checked out Patch Adams, which is a fairly old film. It was from 1998, starring Robin Williams, based on a true story. I've always loved that movie, and I know Tim is a huge Robin Williams fan, as am I. So I said, oh, we should watch this together. I think it'll be good. So he was like, all right, I'm all on board. I love Robin Williams. I said, now just know that there is some humor in it, but this is a very serious movie. It's not like his typical, funny, comedic type of movie. So he was prepared for it to be a little bit more of a drama and things like that. But he did enjoy it. He said it was interesting, kind of sad if some of the plot points were factual, being that it was based on a true story. I haven't done any research yet to find out, because I don't know that I really want to know if the plot point that we're questioning is true or not. So we're just going to leave it to it happened in the film, and we don't know how true to the story it is. So yeah, that's what we've been watching in a nutshell. haven't made our way to the movies lately. We've been kind of busy just doing other things. So yeah, maybe next week we'll have some movie theater watches to share. And then in the life section this week is a lot more pleasant. Lately I've been having some homeowner issues when it comes to leaky roofs and hot water heaters malfunctioning and eventually becoming defunct. This week, still a little bit with the home maintenance things, but not quite as dramatic as some of those others. Again, living in an old house, the upstairs bedroom here, where I have all my studio stuff, had a closet door that had not, well, I guess you could say, I don't want to say hadn't been installed. The closet door had been there previous to when we purchased the house almost 20 years ago. We found it in the rafters of the garage. My dad and my brother helped to reinstall the closet door, but my dad found that part of why it probably wasn't hanging in the closet is because one of the hinges was damaged. So he tried to repair the hinge so that he could reinstall the door, and for a couple of years it worked out okay. But one day I went to close the door and I was like, this is not closing properly. What's going on? So I'm looking carefully. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what the problem is. And I made the problem worse. So I carefully walked away from the poorly hanging door so as not to knock it down on my head, and got my husband up to see if we could try and get it back in the hinges properly, and made it even worse. Decided that the best thing to do is to just completely remove it from the doorway and take it out of the room. So it's been sitting down in the living room, propped up against a giant bookshelf, and I've been just going with a tension rod and a shower curtain hanging in the closet doorway. It served its purpose, but I wanted a more permanent solution. So I took to Amazon, like many of us do when we're looking for things to purchase, and I found a room dividing curtain rod that you can install without any kind of tools or anything, which if I can find a solution that doesn't require tools, I'm a happy camper. So it's basically two long tension rods that go from floor to ceiling, and then you have kind of like a clamp on hook, I guess you could say, to rest the horizontal hanging bar for the curtain to hang on. So I assembled it all, enlisted my husband's help to get the horizontal bar installed, get the curtain hung up, and now I am satisfied with the solution for my missing closet door. The curtain that I purchased is white. Trying to find a curtain that was long enough to span how I wanted from basically ceiling to floor was a little bit difficult, so I got one that is close to the length that I wanted, not quite. And talked with my mom. She says maybe we'll try to figure out a way to add a little bit of length to the bottom of the curtain so that it goes all the way to the floor like I want it. She doesn't think it's necessary, but I want it to go all the way to the floor for a reason. So she has agreed to help me do that, since it's basically just running a straight seam to attach a piece of fabric to the bottom of the curtain. She says she thinks she can manage that. So we're going to, at some point, go into the collection of fabrics that we have, pull out the sewing machine, and get down to business. When that will happen, I'm not sure. But like I said, as for now, I'm reasonably satisfied with my solution for the missing closet door. Other things happening in life this weekend, I will be going to YarnCon Chicago. I'm filming this video on Friday afternoon, so I don't have the footage to put in for YarnCon, but I will definitely be updating you guys as to what I find there and what kind of mischief I get up to at YarnCon, so stay tuned for that. And finally this week, I have been continuing my journey with the Better Me app. The workouts are fairly simple. There are some things that I have to modify because they're doing exercises that require arm strength, arm movements. So anytime when they put an exercise in like that, I have to figure out if I can modify it for my anatomy or completely substitute a different exercise where they have an arm exercise. So yeah, some of the things are a complete substitute that I have to do. Some of the things I can kind of modify. I can tell you that the workouts, though they seem fairly simple, they don't use any kind of weights, they don't use any kind of equipment. They're basically just body weight resistance exercises. They definitely give a workout. I'm sweaty when I'm finished. My hair looks terrible. My legs are burning, my abs are burning, and the next day I'm questioning why certain movements are more uncomfortable than others, and it's all attributed to doing the exercises with that app. So I can say that yes, it does work. We'll see how it changes my body. I'm hoping that it will improve my balance, because as I'm going through some of the exercises, I'm finding that when I thought I had good balance, I was wrong. So yeah, I will be excited to see how my strength and coordination improves over time using this app. That's about all I have for this week. And yeah, let me know if you're interested in seeing my rather uncoordinated workouts that I've been doing. Maybe I'll film some video footage of that. I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing. I will be including some video updates of my knitting journey. Kind of excited for that. I'm sure I'm not doing everything correctly, but it's exciting to be learning a new skill. So if this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. If you have enjoyed the video, hit the like button, consider subscribing. For my returning subscribers and viewers, thanks for coming back. You know how much I appreciate you coming in, dropping a comment, letting me know what you've been up to. Yeah, that's, like I said, that's about all I have for this week. So thanks for stopping by.